Namaste and welcome to today's session. I'm recording this session on World Mental Health Day. So I don't know when I'll be posting this session, but that's the day I'm recording in. So those of you who don't know when World Mental Health Day is, you can Google it. So, and the kind of work I do, if you can call it work, I think kind of sharing that I do is greatly linked to mental health. But the ultimate purpose of this sharing is really to transcend the mind, or another word I can think of is to self-destruct the mind. Or one of the sentences that come to our mind from one of my favorite spiritual teachers, Nisargadatta Maharaj, to explode the mind so that there's no mind. Now, no mind as in not something like, oh, I am practicing no mind, I have to quiet in my mind. No, it's just a sort of an inner explosion where there is no person left inside, and there is just the whole of existence happening by itself. And that includes this mind and this body. So, of course, that one can't really even say that's the ultimate goal, because again, I bring in the element of time, that there is a person who has to do something and then achieve that goal. I think it's a realization, and I think it's also a matter of grace if it happens. Sometimes it happens to people without any kind of spiritual practice at all. And of course, most spiritual paths prescribe a practice, and primarily the practice that is prescribed, rather than cultivating virtues of compassion, love, kindness, is the practice of awareness. So I think awareness, the practice of awareness, is something that one should do, not with the hope of achieving something. I think that's, just like you brush your teeth every day. So just to maintain oral hygiene, right? If you don't brush your teeth every day, then your teeth will begin to rot. Similarly, the practice of awareness should be like a mental hygiene. I think that's best what I can say, rather than you practicing awareness that, oh, I'm going to now achieve awakening, self-realization, enlightenment, all those. I think because then you have created yourself as an individual who's trying to do something, trying to get somewhere, and that becomes self-defeating. And yet at the same time, I think just because I'm saying that one should not do something with a future goal in mind, because then you will get into the realm of being a person in time. And that doesn't mean you need to throw off the practice of awareness, especially when you are sort of a beginner on the path. Because otherwise, it's often like throwing the baby off with the bathwater. Fir karna kya? Fir then you do nothing, literally. So I think a better middle ground is that one must practice awareness, whatever name you may want to call it. You may call it the practice of vipassana, you may call it the practice of no mind, you may call it the practice of mindfulness, you may call it meditation, whatever that may be. But essentially, the essence of it is to bring attention into presence, into awareness, into the present moment, to notice what's happening now. I think that's really what it is. And mm, and what did I want to say? And it need not be like a serious thing. It's just like I was saying, it just make it a part of a habit or a routine. Like, okay, fine, for some time during the day, morning, maybe evening, I'll just sit and just be. Now, why am I being? It's not because I want to get enlightened or awakened or liberated. I'm just like I just feel calm, easy, relaxed. My mind settled down. It's like I said. It's, let's say, it's mental hygiene. Since today is World Mental Health Day, then it's good to practice or develop a practice of awareness, um, mindfulness, or whatever one may call it. It's a good mental hygiene. Otherwise, the attention is constantly lost in the realm of the mind and the thoughts, and being a character with the stories and past and future and conflicts and anxieties and all that. So I think it's good to pause. It's good to develop a habit, not with the hope of becoming enlightened, but just as a matter of mental hygiene. Mm. So, yeah, I think that's what I would say about practicing awareness and how it helps to have a better mental emotional well-being. Um, so there's something I would like to talk about today, which is essentially being World Mental Health Day. I thought it's good to talk about the neuroses of the mind, which is what everybody is sort of struggling with. Uh, in a way, it's a it's the epidemic since ages. And it's a hidden epidemic, and only when it reaches to a level of dysfunctionality, which is depression, meltdown, or disorders, mental disorders, then we seek help of some mental health professional. But every single human being is actually suffering the neurosis of the mind, which is essentially having a certain unconscious beliefs which are making the whole life of that person run based on those beliefs. And the other part of the neurosis is constantly seeking something in the future, constantly seeking something in the future, constantly projecting something into the future and hoping the happiness lies out there. Once I get that, that's another part of the neurosis. And the third part of the neurosis is the fear, the insecurity, that if I don't get that, then I will feel incomplete. There's something missing in me. So I thought, that's the whole the mind. If I were to put it into just three aspects, the first is it feels it's incomplete and it needs to do something to feel complete, and which is what it takes on an unconscious belief that I must do ABC to feel complete, uh, the ego identity. And the second is then the motivation to do whatever it does, that belief converts into action, into behavior. And the third part is the fear and the insecurity of not being able to get what it feels, and it will continue to feel incomplete and something is missing. I'm unworthy and I'm like, this is each person may have a different kind of a mind, each person may have a different personality, but this theme is the same. I am incomplete, and I need to do ABC XYZ to feel complete. This is the unconscious belief. Then the manifestation of that unconscious belief into behavior, that, let's say, I need to get the love of others to feel complete. Then I start, my behavior is all about getting the love of others. And then the insecurity that I'm not getting the enough love of others, I'm not getting, others don't like me, and uh, because this insecurity will always be there, because there will be never a time when one can really get absolute unconditional love of others, or sometimes you may not get it, and sometimes it may be your own projection. So these are the different these are the three ways that this mind tends to operate. And it's different for different people. For somebody it is about love, for somebody it's about success, so for somebody it is about power and control, for somebody it's about loyalty and duty, for somebody it's about um, being hardworking, for somebody it is about wanting to maintain peace, for somebody it's about expressing individuality. So different ways that people try to complete themselves, try to become whole. So that, so I'm going to use, so for today's talk, I'm going to talk about this from the perspective of Enneagram. Now, Enneagram is a personality test, a very old personality test. And there are so many tests which talk about different personalities with their beliefs and ideas and motivations and fears and all of that. But the two that I have often used in my own journey of awareness, the first one is Myers-Briggs, MBTI. I find that useful. And the other is Enneagram. These are the two that, and I'm not saying that other personality tests are not useful, but these are the two that I have used for my own self, and I have used with people I have worked with in as a counselor or as a coach. So I'm just using Enneagram because I think it has a nice subconscious element to it to understand the behavior of an individual. And there's a certain, if I may use the word, spiritual element to the test, because the essence of the test is that uh, that eventually, if you look at it, the everything is just one whole. Everything is just complete, and nothing needs to be done to experience. Nothing needs to. It's like I'm reminded of that shloka or verse from, I think, the Upanishads that goes, the Sanskrit verse, Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate, which means that the complete doesn't need to do anything to feel complete. It's already complete. Even if you take a little bit away from what is complete, it still remains complete. Even if you put in something in what is complete, it still remains complete. So that is the nature of existence. That is the nature of life. That is the nature of wholeness. But we, when we come into this human form, in this body and this mind, then we start feeling that there's something is missing, something is incomplete, because we our mind tends to get identified with this body and mind and this ego personality. So um, so then we develop all these beliefs which I'm just talking about, that I need to do something to complete myself. And then we start our journey in as seekers, so to speak. And in that sense, I think all 8 billion human beings alive are all seekers, because we are seeking something to complete us. We are seeking something to make us happy. Now, whether that pursuit or seeking is in the material world, uh, or that seeking or pursuit is in the realm of spirituality. Either we are seeking success and growth, achievement, money, relationships, sensory pleasures, or we are seeking liberation, enlightenment, mm, awakening, bliss, the inner whatever. So we are always constantly seeking, because we feel something is all incomplete in us, and that is really the neurosis of the mind. This element of constantly projecting something into the future and hoping happiness is out there, while this whole of existence is already here. This completion is already here. There's nothing that is ever incomplete. It's always complete, but the mind is feeling that it is incomplete. So so we'll talk about I was talking about Enneagram. So Enneagram talks about uh, the 9 different ways and it has 9 different kinds of personalities, uh, type 1, number 1 to 9, and how each of these personalities or these minds or identities tend to take on a limiting belief, and then it tries to fulfill itself, to complete itself, and the underlying insecurity of this personality. So for today's session, I'm going to use the Enneagram model because I think it's simple and easy to understand limiting beliefs and how the mind is trying to become whole and complete. And it's a never ending pursuit. It really is something that can never really complete, because you can't complete yourself. You're already complete. It's not like you are already complete. There is only completion. There is only existence. There is only life expressing itself, that includes this mind and body. But because I have this illusion of separation, that I am separate from life, and then I feel incomplete and I need to do something. So we are going to talk about these 9 different types, and how these beliefs become limiting, and how what's the fears associated with it. And I thought it's a good topic to talk about on World Mental Health Day, because at one level, I think if one has to move towards, I mean, I don't know whether one can't really move towards completion, but I think a good exercise in awareness, let's put it that way, a good exercise in awareness, just like I was talking, that a um, good mental hygiene is to practice awareness, mindfulness, no mind, whatever, watching the breath, being in the present moment, all of that. Similarly, a good mental hygiene is also to investigate into our unconscious limiting beliefs. Hmm. So I think that's also a very good practice, as for mental hygiene. I think that's what I'm not saying. It's a good practice to complete yourself, because completion is already there. There's no good practice to become one whole, because oneness is already there. But let's say it's a good practice for mental hygiene. And perhaps the more we are able to practice this mental hygiene, the more the mind begins to, it's like the murky waters of the mind settle down, and then there is clarity. Then we can perhaps see that the completion that is already there. Again, now I am using the element of cause and effect, that if you do this, you will probably be able to see the completion is already there. So I don't know, maybe that's how it works. Or maybe you don't need to really do anything. It just happens also, that realization. But let's say, for the sake of mental hygiene, these are two good practices. One, to practice awareness, and the second is to investigate and inquire into our unconscious beliefs. Okay, so without further ado, I will talk about each of these 9 different personalities. And then perhaps you can, when I'm talking about that, you can identify yourself. So, which energy do you more resonate with? And I found this useful because many years back, when I did the Myers Briggs, and I figured out my type. Now, those of you who are curious to know what my Myers-Briggs type is rather, because as per the theory of Carl Jung, you're born with a certain preference, natural preference, and that's how it is. It does not change over a period of time, even though you may cultivate different habits and skill sets, but your natural preference remains the same. So my Myers-Briggs type is ENFJ. Mhm. Extroverted, intuitive, feeling, judging. Okay, now those of you who don't know what is ENFJ or what's Myers-Briggs, you can Google it and find it out for yourself. But having said that, I think these personality types, okay, now here's a caveat, is good to identify some of our unconscious beliefs and motivations, and uh, again, for the sake of uh, awareness of this unique energy. Everyone has a unique mental mind. Don't use these to box yourself and identify with that. Now, this is another problem with personality tests, that it's like you use a tool for a certain purpose, and when the purpose is solved, you let go of the tool. Now, let's say, supposing if you want to fix a nail on the wall, so the tool you use is a hammer. Now, it's a functional use of that tool. Once you have fixed the nail on the wall, you drop the hammer and you don't need that anymore. You don't take the hammer and bang it on your head unnecessarily. Similarly, a personality test is good for identifying certain limiting beliefs, to understand our energy, especially when mm, uh, I mean, we don't even need, honestly, even a personality test. Over a period of time, we can even understand our own limiting beliefs through our experiences, through the conflicts we face, or maybe somebody gives us some feedback. So that's also another process of creating awareness. And but personality test is also a good approach to identifying the limiting beliefs. Now, the functional use of a personality test is to identifying limiting beliefs. It could also be identifying your strengths, your creativity, your natural self-expression of your energy. So it works both ways. But don't create an identity of that personality. Now, don't say, "Oh, I am a ENFJ." And this happens, like, especially when people get introduced to personality. Then, I am a ENFJ. Oh, I am a number two. I am this. I am that. I'm a Scorpio. I'm a, don't create identities, because then again, you are actually limiting yourself to that nomenclature and that box and that label and that category. Oh, as it is, we are doing that all the time in our life. Oh, I am a mother. I am a daughter. I am Indian. I am a Sindhi. I am a doctor. Whole of language is constantly condensing, constricting your being into a box of a word. And then again, now we use these personality tests to do the same thing, then becomes self-defeating. So it's good for the sake of self-awareness, but not so good if you start labeling yourself and identifying and saying that this is another who I am. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, so let's start off with the 9 personality types, and each of these types has certain uh, beliefs related to who they are and what they need to do to complete themselves. So this is like a journey towards wholeness, a journey towards completion, which will never culminate, because there is only completion, because there is only wholeness. So this is a never ending journey. The journey perhaps will get realized when sudden, either through grace, what the realization happens that there really is no need to do anything to be complete, because I am complete. But it's good to know what are the limiting beliefs that make me feel and make me continue this journey, and perhaps that weakens the whole pursuit towards completion. So number one, or in the Enneagram types, so like I said, there are 9 different personalities in the Enneagram type. The first personality type, number one, which is it's it's a reformist energy. It's a disciplinarian energy. And the limiting belief of this energy is that I must work hard and I must be perfect to feel complete. Mm. And it's constantly in this pursuit of trying to be very, very perfect, very, very um, meet up to its own standards. It tends to also be sometimes very self-critical, because it feels that only when I'm really working hard, only when I fulfill, there's a very strong sense of right and wrong. I once did a Enneagram workshop, and they associated Mahatma Gandhi's energy with this particular personality type. So if you look at Gandhi, of course, he had this very strong sense of right and wrong, and that sense of right and wrong even spilled on to him being very hard on his wife, on his children. So that's the shadow side of a number one kind of a personality, which has this, I must be right, I must work hard, I must be perfect. It's a very idealistic energy. And then the whole behavior manifests in terms of constantly working towards perfection. And then the shadow side of such a personality is that it doesn't allow itself to be at ease. There are times when the body needs rest. There are times when you can't be in control all the time. There is also, there's not always a sense of clear right and wrong. So the shadow side is, it's not able to look at the grays in life. It just has very black and white thought process. And the fear is that if I'm not right, if I'm not perfect, if I'm not hardworking, then something is missing or incomplete in me. So then the whole journey of this energy is about trying to be attain perfection. Mm. And it's very organized, very disciplined. It's very judgmental of itself, very judgmental of others. It's trying to achieve excellence. Has very detail oriented, very high work ethic. So all these energies have a light to it, which is a good side to it, and also they have a shadow side to them, because every time you're trying to be someone, you are repressing another part of you which is saying that, oh, I should not be this. So it has both elements to it. Coming to number two. Now this one I'm very familiar with because this happens to be my energy um, pattern and belief. And I've kind of recognized this now very much over a period of time. And if you look at ENFJs and number two, ENFJ in Myers-Briggs and number two in Enneagram, they're kind of very correlated. It's the people's energy. These guys feel that I will be complete only when I'm loved by others. So I'm sure maybe a lot of people can relate to this energy, that only when I'm loved by others, only when I'm liked by others, then I will be complete. And in the pursuit of wanting to be liked and loved by others, then these people can end up becoming people pleasers. Sometimes these people may end up, the degrees of evolution of each energy, sometimes they may end up becoming manipulative. They may end up, being over caring at the cost of their own self. And this is quite often that happens, that they are not acknowledging their own needs, but they're trying to fulfill the needs, highly empathetic, too good for their own good. This is the energy of a number two. So, but on the good side, a number two has great, are extremely empathetic. They make very good counselors. They make very good teachers. They are very attuned to the needs of others, and they are able to build good relationships. So I think all the people professions, I think a number two is really would be good at that. So they're very good at supporting others. But essentially, the underlying, the shadow side of a number two is it's always needing love. It is always needing the validation of others to feel complete. And there's this insecurity. Oh, I'm not loved. Oh, I'm not liked. And quite often, it's not even that the person is not loved or liked, but because of this underlying insecurity that gets projected onto other people, and then this number two personality feels, oh, I'm not loved, I'm not liked. So this is the limiting belief of a number two, that I must be loved to feel complete. Okay, coming to a number three personality. The number three personality uh, is the performer, the achiever, so to speak. And the limiting belief of a number three personality is that I must achieve to feel complete. And these people are extremely goal oriented, extremely success oriented, because if they are not successful, they are not successful in the way the world defines success in terms of money and recognition and fame, or whatever they feel that they have chosen to be successful, then these people with this personality type number three, they tend to feel incomplete. They tend to feel insecure. They tend to feel fearful. And So these people are generally very competitive, very comparing themselves to others. They're willing to make great sacrifices to win. For them, winning is very important. Achieving goals is very important, and they are willing to leave aside their emotions for the sake of achieving goals. And for them to be successful is very important. They're very image conscious. They value productivity and performance. They want to outdo other people. So this is then, so the limiting belief which is making all this behavior happen for a number three personality is, I must achieve to feel complete. And then the whole of this, a lot of people who are in the corporate world, I think this is the energy that I must achieve to feel complete. The underlying side is, the shadow side is that they are unable to sort of be true to their own self. So it's not so much about expressing their naturalness, then it becomes focus is more on achieving a goal to feel complete. Mm. They do not perhaps enjoy the process. For them, it's really the goal, and the goal post keeps moving. Every time they achieve a goal, now the next goal, now they achieve that goal. So they're constantly in this pursuit of wanting to complete themselves, because they feel that they will feel complete only when they achieve certain goals. And their underlying fear and insecurities, I'm worthless if I'm not achieving something, if I'm not successful, if I'm not recognized. And so that's the energy of a number three. Now, coming to a number four personality type, a type four. These people are highly individualistic. Um, the belief for a number four personality is that I must be true to myself to feel complete. And in order to be true to myself, then I must be true to my feelings, my thoughts, my values. Uh, and these people have a very deep need for meaning. That's whatever they're doing has to be very meaningful. They're creative people, and then they also tend to be a little bit moody because they want to be true to their feelings. um, so they're quite intense human beings. They can be introspective, they can be quiet, but essentially, these people feel that only when I am totally able to express my individuality, my true self, my mm, then only I will be complete. Which again, like I said, is a never-ending process, because there is only completion. The mind has taken this belief that only when I'm true to myself, then I will feel complete. So then the fear or the shadow side of this personality is that, oh, I cannot lose myself in the world. I have to be true to myself. So there is always this guardedness, this that I need to protect my true self from the world. And so that's what a number four energy it does, that it wants to be true, deeply honest to their feelings and their thoughts to feel complete. So then also, they often, what happens is they're constantly seeing what is, they're looking at what is not vibing with themselves, with the world. And then there may be an element of judgment that, because they're so identified with their own thoughts and feelings, that they're not open to other perspectives. So that's a number four energy. Now, a number five energy. And I think energy is a better word. Even personality is a good word. But essentially, it's just to, like I said, I'm just using this Enneagram model as one of the models. There are so many other models to understand how the mind takes these limiting beliefs, and then it tries to complete itself by enacting these limiting beliefs, and the fear that if it's not able to fulfill these beliefs, then it will always be incomplete. And this process, this neurotic process of the mind, is a never ending journey, because It's like the waves saying that once I become water, I will become complete. Mhm. Now, what can the wave ever do to become water? It's already water. There is only water. Only the this portion of water has started believing I'm a wave and I need to do something to complete myself, and it's a never-ending process. So somebody needs to tell the wave, look, hello, you're already water. You're believing, and this belief is the limitation. So the tie number 5 is the energy of the thinker. Mhm. Now, the limiting belief of number 5 energy is that I must understand to be complete. Now, what does a number 5 energy tend to do? They want to figure out how things work. They want to go to the depth of something and really figure out uh, how things work. Um, they are very research oriented. They're very analytical. They're very rational individuals. And so that's the number 5 energy. They also tend to be a little private, protective about their own personal space. They feel that once I understand something, then I will be complete. Once I figure things out, then I'll be complete. And they try to use their logic, the rationality, the intelligence, uh, the intellect to do that. And it's a never ending process. Because at the end of the day, how can you even understand life? You can understand aspects about life. You can understand, science and cause and effect and theories, but how can you understand your own existence? It's not a matter of understanding. Mhm. It's a matter of realizing, if at all one can put it in that way. So the shadow side of this personality is that it feels always incomplete if it has not understood something. It's trying to put everything into its mind and trying to grasp it of how it works. And sometimes one of the things that this personality finds very challenging is because it cannot understand human beings and relationships. Because at least you can understand physical things because they have a certain cause and effect, the scientific approach. But how can you understand humans and relationships and emotions? So that's one of the difficulties. So perhaps that's the reason these types also protect their privacy so much. So that's the number 5 energy, which says that once I understand everything, then I will feel complete. Okay, then we have a number 6 energy. Now, the number 6 energy is the loyalist, according to Enneagram. And the limiting belief of this energy is that I must be loyal and I must do my duty. So these people make very good team players. These people make very good employees in themselves. If they are very committed to whatever they take up. So, so they're very loyal. They are very dependable people. They are also risk averse, very cautious, and uh, they're very quick also to detect any kind of danger, any kind of a risk situation. So very loyal, dependable people. I think that's what the energy is. So essentially, the energy is I need to be loyal. I need to do my duty to be complete. Now, the shadow side of such an energy is that sometimes they may compromise on their naturalness just for the sake of doing the duty. They may compromise on their ability to see things objectively just for the sake of doing their duty. They may not be able to see the big picture. I'm reminded of this person from Mahabharata, Bhishma Pitama, that the old warrior, that for the sake of doing his duty, which is being loyal to the king, which is Duryodhan, he let go of the higher principle of dharma, which means something wrong is happening. Let's say a Draupadi is getting disrobed, mm, or there are other things. Someone is trying to kill others. He's overlooking all of the factors because his prime belief is I must be loyal to the king. So in a way, he's overlooking all the aspects which are not so called in line with the higher truth. So that's an example of number 6 energy, that I must be loyal, I must do my duty to feel complete. Now let's look at number 7 energy. Okay, now this is a very interesting energy. It is the energy of the adventurer, or um, the limiting belief of a number 7 energy is, and I'm laughing because I know some people who are closely who have this energy, is that I must experience the world to feel complete. Uh, which means I must have this experience, I must have this experience, I must not miss out on any. So one could associate hedonism with this energy, because this energy is constantly trying to, like, I must have this good food, I must have this holiday, I must have this relationship. So this energy is like enthusiastic, adventurous energy, which is always feeling that, that I must have all experiences to feel complete. So they are always moving from one experience to the other all the time. And they just don't want to have boredom. They don't want to keep to themselves. They want to constantly stimulate themselves with different experiences. And they generally are very enthusiastic, lively, spontaneous, nice, pleasant people. But somebody may get very tired in their company because they're constantly like, come on, let's go for this event, come on, let's do this, come on. So I'm reminded of this uh, movie character called Zorba the Greek. I don't know if anyone has seen that movie, but that's an example of a number 7 energy: enthusiastic, lively, adventurous. So so it so the shadow side of this energy is that it feels that if it's not experiencing the fear of missing out, FOMO is very much in this energy, that it's missing out on something. What it doesn't realize is that whole of life is nothing but an experience, but they don't want to be with the experience that's happening now. They're seeking an experience because they feel if they have a certain experience, that will make them feel alive, and that will make them feel complete. So that's the number 7 energy. So yeah, so that's the energy of number 7, the adventurous seeker of experiences. Then comes the number 8 energy. Now, the number 8 energy is the controller, or one could say the powerful leader. This energy has the limiting belief that I need to be in charge or in control to feel complete. They don't want to expose their vulnerability. They want to guard and protect their vulnerability. They are, in a way, they are very caring and protective people, but um, they are the ones who want to call the shots. They are the ones who want to be in charge. And all these so-called powerful leaders and um, people who are at the helm of affairs with a commanding personality, perhaps they are number 8 energy, because they want to be in charge. They want to be so. Perhaps a benevolent leader is a number 8 energy. I want to be in control to be complete. And they don't try to, they will hide their vulnerability. They are vulnerable, but they'll hide their vulnerability behind a persona. Uh, they're very domineering, very overbearing, uh, and they dislike to show any kind of weakness. And that's the number 8 energy. So on the good side, they are caring, they fight for the weak, they want to justice. But on the shadow side of this personality, they don't want to acknowledge any weakness, they don't want to show any vulnerability, they may not be open to other people's views and thoughts because they want to dominate and impose their thoughts and views. So they may not be very open to any kind of democracy or any kind of um, you know of community functioning together. So that's the shadow side of this energy. And the insecurity is always that someone is maybe wanting to try to take advantage of me, is trying to put me down. So there's always this guardedness in a number 8 energy. So the limiting belief is I must be in charge, I must be in control to feel complete. Number 8. And the last but not the least, as per the Enneagram, is the number 9 energy. The number 9 energy is that I must, they are the called the peacemakers, so to speak. And the number 9 energy is that I must be at peace to feel complete. They are uh, the gentle kinds, and they are always very accommodative. They are good. They are very grounded. They are very stable. A number 9 energy. They have a very pleasant presence. They don't like conflict. And they have difficulties also in saying no. They like to be independent. They enjoy the simple pleasures of life, and they are open to seeing different people's point of view. I think a number 9 energy is a good mediator energy. If you want a mediation between all these number 8 personalities, a number 9 is a good mediator. He can see this point of view, he can see this point of view, he can see this point of view. But his own point of view is that I must experience peace to feel complete. And then this energy tries to avoid anything, any conflict, because there are times when there will be conflict, there will be chaos. Like I came across somebody recently, and he was telling me, I find it very difficult to manage chaos whenever I see any kind of loud talking or chaotic. I find it very, I feel uncomfortable. And there are times when that will happen. So if I am fixated in this, that I need to have peace, only then I'm complete, then that becomes another shadow side. So the insecurity is that something will take away my peace. So these are the different energies, the 9 different numbers, personalities, as per Enneagram. And like why I said, why I've shared all of this is because, like I said, today's World Mental Health Day. And what I wanted to talk about in today's session is how different kind of minds take up different kind of limiting beliefs. And the cause of the limiting belief is because it feels that if I follow this belief, then I'll become complete. And then it creates all this neurotic activity, which is projecting something into the future and pursuing that with the hope of wanting to be incomplete, and the underlying fear and insecurity which is always there, it feels incomplete because ultimately there is nothing that you need to do to be complete, because there is only completion, there is only one existence, there is only one life. This is the mm, this is a wrong belief of the mind which has taken on an identity, and it says that I need to do this, only then I'll be complete. I need to either work hard, number one, then I'll be complete. I need to be loved, number 2, only then I'll be complete. And number 3 will say I need to achieve some goal, only or success, then I'll be complete. And number 4 energy will say I need to be true to myself, only then I'll be complete. And number 5 energy will say, oh, I need to understand, only then I'll be complete. And number 6 energy will say, oh, I need to be loyal and do my duty, then I'll be complete. And number 7 energy will say, I need to experience the world, only then I'll be complete. And number 8 energy will say, or I need to be in charge and I need to be in control, only then I'll be complete. A number 9 energy will say, I need to be at peace, only then I'll be complete. This is this is the illusionary belief that different kind of, and I'm just use Enneagram as one of, but there are so many tools to understand. So I think it's good if, to make this more personal, this session more personal, this more relevant to whoever is watching and listening to this, is ask yourself, what is my core limiting belief which is making me do whatever it is doing, which is saying that if I don't do this, if I don't get this, then I am incomplete, then I'm worthless, I'm not good enough. Mm. Because identifying that also is a sort of a deconstruction of that. Once you identify it, once that awareness is there, then it loses the power. Till the time the belief is unconscious, it has power. Once that belief is identified, then it tends to lose its power. So, so hence I was saying that these are the two good um, practices one can do, routines or habits one can do to practice good mental health, uh, or mental hygiene, so to speak. One is investigate into your unconscious beliefs, limiting beliefs, and practice awareness. Now, don't do these two activities with the hope that by doing this, I will become complete. Completion is already there. Mm. Wholeness is already there. There is only wholeness. It is only the mind which is taking on these, the notion of it being separate from wholeness. So do this as a practice, not with the hope that if I do this, then I will become whole. Wholeness is all. There's only water. There is only water. That is all there is. There is no wave. So wave can never do anything to become water. It is already that. So I'm reminded of this small anecdote I came across, which is very interesting. Uh, and there are these two small fish who are swimming, young fish swimming in the ocean. And an old fish is passing from the other direction, and it comes across these two young fish. And the old fish says, "Good morning. How's the water?" And these two young fish just nod and they swim across. And then after some time, one of the young fish nudges the other fish and says, "What was that old man talking about?" Hmm? So I don't know whether you understood what I'm trying to say, is that there is only existence, there is only life, but we are not we are not realizing that there is only existence, only life. We are believing I am a person who is living his life. There is only life, but I believe I am a person who is living his life. There is only existence, but I believe I am a person who is existing. So it's like asking, like, how's life? Then you will say, oh, life is not so good. This is happening in my life. And no, that's not life. Life is right now. What's happening now is life. That life is not your story. Life, what's happening right now. Hmm. That is the realization. So we didn't have a chance to do any sitting practice since I got on to this whole thing. So let's end the session with a little bit of sitting practice because, like I said, one important part of mental well-being and hygiene is to practice awareness, not practice awareness with the idea of becoming complete or becoming life or becoming existence, simply because it's good for the mind sometimes to give it some rest. Okay, so sit comfortably, take a deep breath in and exhale. Close your eyes if you wish and bring awareness into what's there right now. The notion that you as a person exist right now in this moment and every moment, only life exists. Only existence exists. There is no you who does anything, only life is happening. It's one life, it's one existence. It's not even you who's conscious of life, it's just one thing. That one thing is actually no thing because there is no person. One can say there is something only when there is someone to observe a thing. But there is no someone here. There is only no thing, nothing. So in a way, nothing is happening. If there are thoughts, that's part of the no thing that is happening. Perfectly fine. If you're lost in thoughts, being a character, that's part of the no thing that is happening. The attention is in the breath, body, sensations. And that's part of the no thing that is happening. Just realize nothing is happening right now. Or another way of putting it is that existence is only happening right now. That only life is happening right now. And life doesn't need to do anything to realize it is life. It is always life. It is always existence. Right here, right now. There is only completion. There is no separate person who needs to do something to become complete. Right here, right now, there's only life. There's no separate person living a life to make a better life. Right here, right now, there's only existence. There's no separate person existing. Just learn to be comfortable with whatever is, including the lack of comfort, including thoughts. Because whatever is an expression of existence. There is no person who is doing it. Existence is expressing itself. Whatever existence is doing is complete, is whole. Once the realization happens that I know there is no person that needs to do anything to complete, then whatever is expressed is an expression of that life, which was always the case, except the person was believing that it was doing life. It was making life happen. It needed to do something with its life. Only life is doing, only existence is doing, only the wholeness is expressing itself. And this remembrance can happen anytime. All one can do, if at all, to practice mental hygiene, mental well being, is to question our beliefs, investigate into our beliefs, the validity of our beliefs, and practice awareness as often as possible. Not with the hope of becoming enlightened or liberated or becoming whole or complete, because there is only wholeness, there is only completion. So do it just as a habit, a good habit, a good routine, as a part of a healthy lifestyle. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Take another deep breath in and exhale. Slowly and gently rub your palms and rub your eyes. So, with that, we end today's session. Once again, wish you a good, happy mental health day, even though when I post this video, it may not be happy mental health day. But I wish you that you develop these good routines of mental well-being, mental health, investigating into limiting beliefs, and practicing awareness as often as possible without any goal in mind. Just like we brush our teeth every day, just make this into a habit. So with that, we end this session. Goodbye. God bless. Take care.